Shockingly, Wizards of the Coast has gone ahead and released their new OGL, OGL 1.2. They announced they were going to release this sometime before the end of Friday. I was totally expecting Friday evening, but no, instead they decided to release it midday Thursday. So since that time, I have gone ahead and reviewed the document myself. It is a legally binding contract, so as you might imagine, there is a ton of lawyer jargon and legalese. And there are a ton of qualified individuals that have gone ahead to break down exactly what is in OGL 1.2. That being said, what I want to go over in this video is the fact that Wizards of the Coast just revealed to all of us its biggest fear as it moves into the future of D&D. Because you see, in OGL 1.1, the mention of virtual tabletops or VTTs was a very small section, but they felt the need that they had to make it an entire page, a whole new policy within OGL 1.2. And I think that this is extremely telling, both for what Wizards of the Coast plans to do in the future with virtual tabletops, as well as what they're afraid competitors might try to do and cut in on their profits. Now, it's no surprise virtual tabletops have become way more popular over the past couple of years due to people during quarantine having to play online. And I think during that whole situation, people found out just how useful those things could be. Because not only do virtual tabletops act as maps and allow you to put minis onto them, but additionally they're able to go ahead and automatically calculate damage, saving you a bunch of time during your game. And I only see virtual tabletops gaining popularity as more and more people want to get into this hobby, but maybe they don't have people locally that they can play with, or maybe their friends begin to move to different states. And with virtual tabletops, they can keep on playing with each other just online. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move over to this portion of the screen where we will break down exactly what it says about virtual tabletops. So here we are, Wizards of the Coast LLC Virtual Tabletop Policy, version 1.0. Again, this is also part of OGL 1.2 being open testing to the community, so this can go through some changes, and I really hope it does, because it's got some crazy stuff in here. As gamers and big fans of VTTs, we are announcing this new VTT policy as part of the rollout of OGL 1.2. And this comes off almost more as like a Q&A, honestly, but that's fine. It's fine. It's easier for at least normal people to understand, so I'm okay with it. Why does Wizards need a VTT policy? We support the role VTTs play in the tabletop space. The ability to game remotely means more people can game, and it's wonderful that thousands of miles apart, people can share a space as though sitting around the table. Agreed. But as VTTs advance, their functionality will raise tricky questions. Where is the line between a VTT and a video game? When does a VTT become more than just a replacement for traditional tabletop? Those questions require thoughtful answers. And I honestly don't think that Wizards of the Coast answers are very good. Answering this will take time, and we want this policy to reflect your input. So we'll be asking for feedback and talking to you about our goals as this discussion advances and new technology emerges. That being said, this is in OGL 1.2, which is supposedly immutable. So we have to make sure that the language in 1.2, when it is finally released, allows for protection of future emerging technologies. Continuing on, what is permitted under this policy? Using VTTs to replicate the experience of sitting around the table playing D&D with your friends is permitted, supposedly. Displaying static SRD content is just fine because it's like looking in a source book. You can put the text of Magic Missile in your VTT and use it to calculate and apply damage to your target. And automating Magic Missile's damage to replace manually rolling and calculating is also fine. That's pretty basic virtual tabletop capabilities. They give more examples here. The virtual tabletop can apply Magic Missile's 1d4 plus 1 damage automatically to your target's hit points. You do not have to manually calculate and track the damage. But this is where things get interesting here, because what isn't permitted are features that don't replicate your dining room table storytelling. If you replace your imagination with an animation of the Magic Missile streaking across the board to strike your target, or your VTT integrates our content into an NFT, that's not the tabletop experience. That's more like a video game. I do not agree with this, actually, because we know D&D Beyond and, Wizards of the Coast are making their own virtual tabletop. I guarantee you that animations are a portion of this. Currently in virtual tabletops, you have the ability to have animated maps, meaning that you might be able to see trees swaying in the background, or you could see rivers flowing, or if there's fire going on in your scene, the fire could be actually moving around and making sound. Those types of things, I believe, based off of this statement, are what Wizards of the Coast consider to be video game characteristics. Even if people aren't using virtual tabletops, they will often still use a sound library to be able to make the game more immersive. Is that a replication of pen and paper playing? No, because when the D&D was originally made, those types of things weren't available. Arguably, those could be considered video game qualities. At the same time, if I then, at my table, decide to come up with a system that is able to automatically project spell-like effects onto the board, that now is replicating my dining room table storytelling setup, but according to Wizards of the Coast, that is a video game now. What this actually is Wizards of the Coast being very insecure about their position moving forward into this new space that they are frankly late to. And because they're late to the game, other competitors have gone ahead to make things like animated spells, or animated backgrounds, animated maps, inclusive music, and stuff like that into these types of scenarios to make the game more lively, more immersive, and overall just more enjoyable to play, arguably, for some people. This is them trying to pull the rug from under their competition to make it so that people that have been working on these innovative new experiences for D&D in the tabletop community will not be legally allowed to do so or have threat of being sued, which I think is just unfair. Wizards of the Coast realizes that they're falling behind and they're trying to prevent competitors from making them look bad. This tells us that Wizards of the Coast views VTTs as the future of D&D, or at least a huge portion of their monetization plan for Dungeons & Dragons as they proceed forward as a company. This is no surprise as they go ahead and begin to make their own VTT, incorporating it into D&D Beyond, including subscriptions for it. Subscription and live services are a great way to make money. They're infinitely scalable. I understand why Wizards of the Coast wants to do this. That being said, with the way it's currently worded, I think it has to change. I have no doubt in my mind that they will include animated spells and backgrounds and stuff like that into their own virtual tabletop when it comes out. That being said, this is only in here to prevent competition from doing so before they do, or by doing it better. So Wizards has revealed that they are afraid of virtual tabletops, specifically virtual tabletop competitors that will encroach on their profit margins. With all the stuff going on with OGL 1.2, and as we give our feedback to Wizards of the Coast about it, I just want everyone to keep in mind that virtual tabletops are a growing portion of this community, and I have no doubt will play a huge role in the future of Dungeons & Dragons. Do you happen to use a virtual tabletop right now? Which ones are your favorite? Do you think that this is blatantly a way for Wizards of the Coast to try and combat competition? Leave those in the comments down below, and until next time, keep questing.